Good morning. We've got our live stream up. We had some difficulty with it yesterday afternoon, so we ended up not live streaming a lengthy landlord-tenant damage hearing that isn't over yet. We're going to continue it. This morning, we've got a misdemeanor arraignments, a couple of bench warrant arraignments, some show causes. A little later this morning, we have some expungement hearings that may or may not be ready to go. And this afternoon, we have a full calendar of last pre-trials before jury trial. Hopefully we'll settle some of those cases. It's Thursday of Fair Week here in St. Joe County. It's cold and wet. Let's see who's in our jail today. All right, surprisingly, nobody's logged in yet. People come in early, and that's why I start early. No one's here yet. We have about 7 minutes till first case. Be right back. I came through the jury room door, so the beep didn't beep. Oh, here's our Chief Public Defender, Mr. Stickley. Good morning.
Morning, Judge.
Yet to have anybody check in. Do have an issue with one of these, which is a bench warrant arraignment for Trey Orban. Melissa Halleck is his attorney. I doubt if she has notice of this. He keeps failing to appear. Maybe this is a notice for the bonding company.
The official calendar says no action on event, so I don't know what that. I'm not sophisticated.
There's an open bench warrant. This is in order to show cause with the bonding company. That says 9/20 outstanding warrant. Defendant arrested 9/7. No action on event. Arraignment on bench warrant. This case is started in July, and he's missed court, I don't know, 5 times. He fired Jordan. Well, he fired Lori Hines. I allowed Lori to withdraw. And anyway, he doesn't have a lawyer, but he is on bond. I just need to get the case reset for a pre-exam conference.
I heard a lot of the area doesn't have power again last night.
I hadn't heard that.
All of Colin was out until sometime in the middle of the night, I guess.
I didn't know that. I lost power over that weekend after Labor Day. My wife was gone, came home, and the power went out at 5:30, and I just watched it get dark and went to bed. And it came on at about 1:30 in the morning. Same thing with these other show causes. They have attorneys. I'm not sure where the attorneys got notice of these. Here's one customer, Jason Persane. There's a show cause on failing to appear on a driving suspended. He's set for a pretrial. Well, I'm going to send an email to Casey and Matt. Well, it is 8:15. We do try to start on time around here. If nothing else, we try to start on time. We got a lot of people that apparently are not up early today. Good morning, Mr. Persing. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
This is Judge Middleton. This is file 211305ST. You're Jason Edward Persing. This case has kind of a convoluted history. You got charged with driving with a suspended license on June 23rd. I saw you, I think, on, I don't know if you were here on July 6th or not. Your mail came back and you didn't show up. So we reset the thing for a show cause for August 10th. Then you didn't show up for the show cause.
Damn it!
The wife called and said he's not living at home and she didn't give him his mail. So you didn't know you had a hearing. So we reset it again for a pretrial for August 12th. We had a power outage on that day due to some bad storms. The courthouse was closed for a couple of days. So they adjourned it to September 2nd. You didn't show up on September 2nd. So I did an order to show cause for you to show up today. So the original charge is driving suspended, and it was set for a pretrial. You're here now. There's some hearings you missed. I don't think you actually knew of them. So I'm going to give you a number to call for the pretrial. All right?
Okay.
All right. You have something to write on?
Yes, I do.
Now, you may end up coming back to my side. I don't have the technology to just transfer you over like forwarding a phone call. Maybe that'll come at some point, but you have to dial in a separate number. The prosecutor and the probation agent, I'm sure, is on that side. But anyway, here's the number: 692-949-4856. Dial into that number just the way you dialed into this one. We'll have a pretrial. At that point, they can either appoint an attorney for you, or if they resolve the case, they'll send you back to me and we'll finish things up in here. Okay?
Do that right now?
Yep, dial in right now. I just sent them an email and said I'm sending
Do
you
you
over
want
there.
me to do that right?
692-949-4856. They're waiting for you on that other site.
So go
All
there
right,
now?
go there now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'll remove you so you can dial the other one. This thing skips around and I'm just ready to click a button and it bops down one and I ended up removing the wrong thing. So hopefully they can deal with his pretrial. We know once, possibly twice, he didn't actually get notice of the hearing that he missed. And then the power went out and I'm not sure what happened on that. So I have a bunch of other stuff here, Mr. Keith. You and I sit here and contemplate the nature of the universe. Brandy Lytle.
That's deep, Judge.
Yes. I read yesterday they found 6 dead galaxies. I don't know what that means. From about 13 billion years ago, somewhere out there in the Hubble telescope. So think about that. Brandy Lynn Lytle, 2 warrants. Tammy Tanis, Antonio Tate, and Mr. Trey Orban. I think Mr. Orban's is the bonding company. I think there's already a warrant out for him. Some of these people have phone numbers. Cinquez Furlow has Jordan. This is in order to show cause for failing to appear. She hasn't gone anywhere. She's right in Three Rivers. I'll try to call her. Really don't want to do warrants for her.
Call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. 694252309 is not available. The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time.
Wow.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. I have another failure. Here's Mr. Orban. No, he's actually here. Be with you in a minute, Mr. Orban.
Okay.
Regarding Sinquez Furlough's 2 cases, I don't really know what else to do. She didn't show up for a pretrial. She didn't show up for a show cause, and I can't reach her by telephone. We'll do a low bond. Do 2 warrants on $100 each, cash or surety. Regarding Sinquez Furlough, there are 2 warrants. They're old there are 2 cases, and they got old because she didn't show up, and then she didn't get arrested, and she hadn't gone anywhere. But file 19121326 charges truancy, and Jordan Yancey is your attorney on that. She failed to appear for her attorney pretrial. This goes way back to 2019. And we got her back on track, and then she failed to show up again for her attorney pretrial on September 3rd. So we scheduled a show cause, and she didn't show up for that. And as I mentioned, I tried to call her. So she has a terrible history of not appearing, but I don't believe she's absconded or gone anywhere. The other case is a retail fraud, also from 2019, where she was off the grid for more than a year. Same thing, she missed the attorney pretrial on September 3rd. So Quincy or one of Sinquez's relatives, if you're watching the feed today, tell her to call her lawyer. She's got a couple of bench warrants for her, and she needs to take care of her business. All right. There's 2 bench warrants and 1 order of show cause. Mr. Orban, good morning.
Good morning.
You're kind of in the same boat. Your case is all screwed up because you never show up when you're supposed to. The last time you were supposed to be here live and in person, and you got connected and disconnected, and then we never heard from you again, and we need to get your case back on track. Your lawyer, Melissa Halleck, is not here. Mr. Keith Stickley, the chief public defender, is here. He can't represent you, but he won't let me step on your rights either. You already have a lawyer. What I want to do is get this case on track. You're charged with assault with a dangerous weapon. That allegedly occurred on July 17th. Your original lawyer was attorney Lori Hines, and you didn't get along with her. You felt she was responsible for you missing court hearing dates. So I appointed a new lawyer, Melissa Halleck. Then we had the same old problem trying to get you here when we needed to get you here. We did another warrant. I can't even tell how many times you failed to appear. The last one was in front of Judge Pattison. What's it set for? Well, they were going to try to forfeit your bond. Let's just get the case back on track, Trey. I don't even know what's going to happen to this. They might turn it into a misdemeanor. They might hold the line at a felony. I don't know. We've never even gotten to first base. You and Miss Hines. Well, and every time you get arrested, you post a bond. Now, at least today you made it to court. So I'm going to put defendant here on arraignment. Recall any warrant at courthouse. I'm going to set a pre-exam conference in this case, and we're going to have you go out to the court and get a notice for October 5th at 9 a.m. Preliminary examination if needed for October 12th.
What will the 5th be?
That'll be the pre-exam conference.
Okay.
We never even got that far. Ms. Hines was frustrated. You were frustrated, so I let her withdraw. I appointed Ms. Halleck. Have you ever spoken to her?
I tried to call her office. All I got was a voicemail.
Well, we get that a lot. I want you to continue to try to contact her. When did you last call?
Probably 2 days ago. I called like all day long.
All right.
I didn't even get an operator or anything. Or not an operator, but like nobody.
She doesn't have a secretary anymore, and that's caused some issues. At any rate, I don't want to lock you up again. You're here, which is a very good sign. You're looking sharp. So I'm gonna give you a new notice for October 5th at 9 a.m. You can come virtually, but we had a lot of trouble with your phone signal. So my suggestion is you come live like this, where we can see you. So I've recalled any bench warrant. I've reinstated original bonds.
Yeah, the whole thing with my phone last time was through my carrier. I had it all messed up. I'm a little bad when it comes to technology, but I got all that fixed now.
All right, I'm not too good at it myself, but you're here today. I can see you, I can hear you, you're on track. I don't know what's going to happen to this case, but we can't get anywhere unless we get you, your lawyer, and the prosecutor there at the same time. So I want you to go out to the court office. They will give you a notice. We'll give the Halleck information again.
That's at the end of the hall where I just came from, right?
Yes. And I want you to continue to try to call her. So that's why I didn't set it for next Tuesday. I set it for one more Tuesday. I'll hopefully have time for you and your lawyer to connect. All right, Mr. Orban, I'm very pleased that you came in live today. It shows me you're finally taking this matter seriously. Go get the paperwork. We'll try this again on October 5th, which is about, I don't know how long that is, 12 days from now, something like that. All right, you're good to go. I'm very glad that you were here.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Do I have to do anything to this?
No, they'll just give you that, just leave that there and we'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's see who else isn't here. Might as well try to wake them up. Probably without success.
Please leave your message for 269-816-1395.
Good morning. This is Judge Middleton calling for Tammy Tanis. Ms. Tanis, you're supposed to be at an arraignment this morning on a possession of a controlled substance charge. You're not here. You need to contact the court for a bench warrant issues for your arrest. Have a good day. She owes $510 of other unpaid stuff. She's having lots of problems. And she could make it better if she showed up. All right, let's make some notes in her file. We'll try and write a show cause first. All of our ladies this morning that have failed to appear, I don't believe have absconded. I think if I drove over to their house and knocked on their door, they'd probably be there. They just aren't very conscientious about showing up. I'm not going to call Brandy Lytle. She has an open warrant for her already. She has filed 211906, driving suspended and failing to stop at the scene of an accident, and careless driving from 9/16. She should have already been arrested. There was an open warrant for her arrest from May or June on an assault and battery and trespass. So at the time she got the ticket, she probably should have been arrested, but maybe they didn't want to take people into jail at that point because of this COVID issue they're having. Anyways, defendant failed to appear for arraignment, has open warrant in 211159 SM A and B and trespass. Do warrant here.
Your recording has reached the...
Oops. I don't know whose recording I was on. New warrant here. Bond $500. Cash surety. Hold 48 hours. She owes $1,785 of mostly booking fees. She has a pending jury trial on a domestic violence, malicious destruction. She has several unpaid dog cases and attempted larceny. So she's got a lot on her plate. And she's not here. Now she has a bench, another warrant. We can get a hold of her. Maybe we can resolve these things. I can't believe the only piece of business we're going to have this morning is Trey Orban. But that may be it. I would call this not a very successful. Oh, we had Mr. Persang. See how they're doing with him. This is Antonio Don Tate Jr. driving without a license. Got a ticket from Jody Hughes. Suspended out of Indiana. Also no proof of insurance. We'll try and order a show cause first. When you were in Hillsdale, did you get involved in any expungement cases?
I didn't do expungements in Hills. Maybe I did one there. I did a lot of expungements and still a lot in Oakland County, Wayne County.
Well, the law has changed. I've got several this morning. One was trying to expunge like 5 things. I don't think she can do that, but we'll find out.
Yeah, the new application actually allows for multiple.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many. I got to take a look at the statute. Anyway, Mr. Tate failed to appear for arraignment. Try order to show cause first. In the early days, when I started after taking over from Judge McManus, if someone didn't appear, they'd get a bench warrant. In the old days, the judge, it was $10 a day, $100 or 10 days. They didn't show up. We had lots of bench warrants and lots of people getting arrested. Now it's more demanding to issue a bench warrant, which is good. I guess you don't need to have a bunch of people booked in and out of the jail on minor offenses. But it is a huge inefficiency for the court when people don't show up when they're supposed to. This causes a lot of extra work for our staff and for us. But he isn't here. I don't have a phone number. I can't wake him up. I didn't have any luck with the phone numbers I did have. So that's all I got. This guy is over on the other side, at the pretrial side, Mr. Persang, but I don't have anything else until 10 o'clock. All right, Keith, thanks. We'll see if anybody shows up. I'll send you an email, all right?
Sounds good.
Thank you. All right, I'll put that. In case we need it again. Well, that's not much of a morning. We've been on the record now for less than a half an hour. I'm going to stop the live feed and we'll see who shows up, if anybody. Was just to check in or
He's out at the fair, I think, doing like VA representing stuff.
all right. Well, that's probably a good place to be out about. Was just to
He
check
called
in.
me a little before 1 and asked if he had to be here, and I said I'd share his comments, but
All
he
right.
said he's burned all of his bridges and he's not going to go out of his way to help him anymore.
All right.
Since we're all here, I'll tell you that my discussions with Stoney with he's burned his bridges, that was in March.
Yeah, it hasn't gotten better since
No,
then.
so that was in March, and that was, I don't know if there's anything else we can do. He's just, so that's been an ongoing problem.
All right, I've got everything turned on. Tim, have I got, look at my calendar for this afternoon. You don't have any last pre-trials today, do? Oh yeah, you do. You have just this.
I have just this. I have a termination trial at 2:30.
They stuck this, part of the reason why I got stuck at 9 o'clock on a Thursday, they did a real quick turnaround on him because he was in custody. And he got arrested on 9/20. So they set it in very short order. And Tim, I appreciate your availability. Dave, are you doing last
Did you say you had
pre-trials?
nine? Did you say you
No,
had
Casey is.
920?
Casey's prepared.
Excuse me, Dan?
Did you say you had 920? Because the jail says he got booked at 10:05 on 9/18.
Well, let's see here.
He told me he was arrested
Arrested.
Saturday.
9:20. Let's take a look and see what the jail says. He has 5 days credit, which would be consistent with the 18th.
Your Honor, I'd like to give my input, and then I've got some meetings. Even if he's not here, obviously if he denies, then we'll be ready to try it, probation violation. But otherwise, I need to move along.
All right. Well, then you told me what your opinion was.
Well, I haven't. I haven't actually.
Well, I can't have you tell me without him being here, so we'll do that first as soon as he logs in. But yeah, when you're the prosecutor, you get lots of meetings to go to.
Yeah.
And I did try to go to them. You can do the other method, just don't show up for anything. We have some in custody people this afternoon too. I think I'll ask them to leave this room open because we've got Felicia Slater at 2. I don't think it'd take that long. Maybe he didn't want to come or they couldn't wake him up or something. Your desk looks awfully clean behind you there. Are you in is this your office?
Yes.
You've got quite a bit of space, more than I remember the way you've set it up. You've got a little conference table back there.
I have a chair, bookcase, and I like to keep things neat and orderly.
Yes. I tried to. It gives me a semblance that I'm in control,
Yeah.
but only a semblance. Don't know what the holdup is. Like I said, we've got everything turned on. Here we go. I think we've got what is the contact meeting room or something, but they now have 3 locations. The original Polycom room, the magistrate room, and then this room. Go back in there. All right, we're on the record here in the matter of People versus Matthew Dwayne Irwin. Mr. Irwin is in custody at the Sheriff's Department. This is file 202618. Mr. Irwin is represented by Attorney Tim George. Got a problem with a microphone in that room. I arraigned Mr. Irwin without benefit of Mr. George being present. Very short notice. The matter was set for hearing today. I canceled Mr. Irwin's bond. His probation agent, Mr. Frazine, is here, and St. Joseph County Prosecutor David Marvey is here. Matt, is there a guard in the room with you?
No, sir, there's not.
No, if I mute that microphone, I'll unmute it, but that's causing this feedback. At any rate, the allegation was that Matthew was placed on probation on May 10th of 2021 for 24 months. His probation agent, Daniel, first in May and then later in June, filed a probation violation petition alleging that he had failed to pay fines and costs and oversight fees, failed to abstain from the use of alcohol or drugs, failed to submit to test on demand, failed to participate in treatment as directed, failed to seek or maintain full-time work or employment. That matter was set for a hearing on June 30th at 9:30 for the arraignment, and the defendant didn't show up. We did a bench warrant, and he got picked up on September 18th, I believe. He has been in jail ever since. He has spoken with his attorney, Mr. George, and I understand he's going to admit that he failed to appear, and perhaps this case is full of failed to appear. Anyway, I'm looking for that's for today. Looking for that original notice for the 30th. The hearing was August 18th. The defendant pled not guilty at that time. It was set for actual hearing on the other date, and the defendant didn't appear. The bench warrant issued on August 19th. Defendant failed to appear. He's off the map. Hold bond 48 hours. The date he actually failed to appear is August 19th. All right, Mr. George, what's your position here?
Well, Your Honor, and as we kind of briefly spoke before, my client, I did have the opportunity to speak with him. He did acknowledge that he would admit that he didn't report as required. If that is sufficient, then we would be looking to move on to argue at sentencing.
All right. Mr. Irwin, do you understand you do have a right to have a hearing in this matter where testimony would be taken? Hearsay evidence is admissible. Your probation agent, Daniel Friesine, is ready to swear the oath and testify. There are other allegations that you failed to pay and failure to do treatment, which I'm going to inquire about. It does appear you were seeking employment and may have actually found some. Also, I don't know that you ever tested. I don't know when, if ever, you took a test. At any rate, do you understand you have a right to have a hearing where it have to be shown beyond a preponderance of evidence that you violated the probation?
Yes, I understand.
All right. And are you going to acknowledge that you violated the probation by, among other things, failing to appear for the probation violation hearing?
I do acknowledge that, yes, sir.
And all right, what happened? Why didn't you show up?
There was a miscommunication off the bat. Parameters weren't exactly set in black and white as to dates and times in order to check in with Mr. Friesine, along with communication issues between himself and I.
Well, at that hearing on the 18th, I put you and Daniel in a room, and I wanted Daniel to get your contact information. All he told me is that it didn't go well, and we sent a notice to your address at 1218 4th Street, and maybe Mr. George sent one as well. Did you ever talk to Mr. George after that date until you got arrested?
No, sir. I had not had contact with Mr. Friesine after that date.
Or Mr. Tim George, your attorney?
No, sir.
And you're still living at 1218 4th Street?
That is correct.
And you got picked up driving someplace, and they cited you with driving suspended and found that they had this open warrant for your arrest. And that's when you got picked up on the 18th.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
All right. Mr. Marvin, the prosecutor, has somewhere else to be, probably 10 minutes ago, but he wanted to provide his input. Mr. Marvin, we'll hear from you first.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out to Matthew that looking back at the history here, there's been a lot of effort from the people in this county to try to offer some kind of a solution that would not be a permanent problem. And it also involved a lot of work and effort and several discussions with Stony Summit. So there's been a lot of effort. There was a fork in the road, and you could have done a 7411 probation, and you could have had a felony in your record. And apparently it was a wise choice to pick the misdemeanor. If probation wasn't going to be followed, now you just have a misdemeanor, not a felony. The problem I have is what I just heard is not an admission of wrongdoing. It's, well, there's bad communication. So there's still an excuse. I have a concern with Article 8, 10, and 9. We can't have people running around doing drugs, failing to attend to do drug testing, and that's what's happened. This opportunity was afforded you so you could have a chance to be in some kind of a program for treatment. So what I would say, Your Honor, is where this started off as, and it could have been a felony, and it's not, I think that we need to send a message in the county, and I think you need to do the balance of the time in jail, and the word will get out that we're not kidding around. But again, this was an opportunity squandered, and I'm disappointed.
All right. So the balance of the time in jail would be the balance of 365 days.
Well, and I should clarify, part of the plea agreement was 50 days deferred. And so when we first participated in sentencing, that was the deal we negotiated. And I stand by that. Whatever effort we put into negotiate that at that time. That's what I'd like to say now. I'd like to see 50 days.
All right, thank you. I'll let you go to your next meeting. I'm probably waiting for you there. Are you willing to stay or go? Tim, what's
Thank
your
you.
position?
Well, Your Honor, I did have the opportunity to speak with my client today, and I think that what I was able to gather from him is just a general frustration about, namely, the relationship that has kind of been in place between himself and Mr. Frazine. I think, and I won't have this verbatim, but the general sense that I got was, from him was, the probation, I think, could be beneficial to someone like me, but I need someone that is going to be there in support of me, not someone that's out to get me. I think that he feels that there just has been a complete breakdown in the relationship with his current probation officer. That being said, he did indicate to me that, and I'm not sure if it was before the arrest or before the initial arraignment, but he indicated to me that he did make a payment on his fines and costs, and that he had finally gained employment at a pretty high-paying job here locally. So some things were starting to go well. He reports that he still wants to do the probation. He thinks that he could get some benefit out of it because, I was upfront with him. I said, do you want to just, have this revoked and be done with it and kind of move on and not have the court overseeing him? And he told me, no, I think that this is something that could be beneficial to me. I just think that right now, the relationship between Dan and I is so strained that there probably isn't any type of reconciliation that's in the works. So, I know that doesn't really put Your Honor in a great position, but that's my client's position. Obviously, he understands that there's going to be a sanction for, not reporting and, other things that had happened, but he does want the ability to continue on with that work and continue on with the work of the probation. So we would leave it in the court's hands, but obviously he would like to, obviously have credit for the time that he's served as sanctions and continue on with the probation, whether that be with Mr. Frazine or someone else. That's ultimately up to the court.
All right, Daniel, what's your thought here?
My job is to make sure that the orders of the court are enforced and to help point people in the right direction and facilitate rehabilitation. And I can only do that when people are willing to put in the effort and are open and honest, which is, I don't know if I've had one open and honest moment with Mr. Irwin. I had his intake with him. It was very clear about every second Thursday of the month, he is to report. I received a signed probation order on 6/2/21, which states that he understood everything that he was told. So that would further clarify that he would be reporting second Thursday of every month. So there's no miscommunication. On 6/15, the defendant called me back after I had to reach out to him and said that I am starting a job at Ox Paper, which is funny because that's just what I'm hearing right now. So I have my doubts. He hasn't done any treatment. In fact, he's wasted a lot of time for the VA. He trashed one of the houses of the VA. The VA got him a car. He sold that car. I've been in constant communication with Miss Kendra O'Keelan. She is the coordinator for 6 counties for treatment services for vets. And she has repeatedly rescheduled Mr. Irwin, who has no called, no showed for many, many appointments. And he just will sit here and tell you that he didn't do it and it's everybody else's fault, which tells me where he's at with his addiction. So my recommendation is just give him the balance of the days and call it quits on this probation and revoke him.
Matthew, what do you want to tell me?
Sure, sir, I recognize that in the beginning of this whole situation, I did not put in the effort that was necessary for us to not be here right now. As this has continued, I have done my part, maybe not to the best of my ability, but to the best that I could have done with what was given to me. When I was released last time, I was technically homeless. Stoney had supposedly set up housing for me, and then come to find out when I was released last time, he went on vacation, which left me on the street for 2 to 3 days. I had nothing to do, so I had to start from zero and come back up again. Getting into Ox has taken me almost 3 months. So that has not been a lie or anything like that. I'm here to try. I'm not giving up on me, and I hope that you guys won't either. I don't think staying in jail is going to do anything positive for me. I think that the disciplinary part with the probation is the best course, because that'll actually set me inside 2 lines. It's not just going to make me sit here for 50 days and then, go home and then do whatever. That'll actually give me a little bit of structure. And being in the military, structure really did help me there. It is something that I lost along the way, but that's something that I found is necessary for myself.
All right.
Your Honor, I would just like to say one thing. Mr. Summy, while he was on vacation, had Sherry, I believe her name is Sherry, as secretary there, and she did have conversation with Mr. Irwin about another transition home after he trashed the first one. So he was not left high and dry. And I told Mr. Summy if that came up, I would share that.
Also, you told me that when he missed the June hearing, Stoney emailed him or called him and said, hey, you didn't show up for court. You need to get in there. What do you recall about that?
I'm sorry, sir.
Daniel, what do you recall about what Stoney told you about telling him to get into court?
Yes, Stoney said he had emailed him, and he has copies of that email that said that he had missed his court date and he needed to make contact with his PO ASAP. And he had been having conversations with him, and he should have been well aware of his court hearing.
Is there any copies of this correspondence with this email that supposedly was sent out? Because
Stoney said he has court. He does have copies. Yes.
Well, is it with you right now, sir?
No, we can get it, I suppose. I don't know if you'll understand what this means. I don't know if anybody will understand what it means. You may be the most Eddie Haskellist defendant I've ever had. You may be too young to understand that reference, but he was a character in a sitcom about 60 years ago who was always polite and respectful, and falsely polite and respectful. And it's an archetype for a guy that tells you what you want to hear and then doesn't do it. This started out as a felony, and we had some problems off the bat. The pre-exam conference was held on December 8th, set for a prelim on January the 5th. January 5th, the defendant did enter a plea to use of a controlled substance, and I told him to turn himself in on January the 5th of 2021. He was using, he was off the rails, and I wanted him to turn himself in, which he did not do. Then I set the sentencing for January 19th. Then he didn't turn himself in, and he didn't show up for the sentencing on January 19th. So I issued a warrant. He got arrested April 28th, and he did turn himself in, I think, on April 27th on the recommendation of Stoney. So I told him to turn himself immediately after his plea. He didn't do it. He didn't show up for sentencing. Stoney talked some sense to him, and he turned himself in April. He told me at that point he was getting a job at Ox Paperboard. So I set him for sentencing on May 10th. So he was in for 13 days at that point. I canceled his bond. Then I let him out of jail. I gave him credit 14, 76 days to serve. 50 are deferred, 26 days to serve, and he had some under his belt, maybe 26 days. I gave him fines and costs and put him on probation on May 10th. Then he promptly didn't do any of the things he was supposed to do, and Daniel filed for a probation violation. He did appear on June 18th, and I set him for a probation violation hearing. He pled not guilty on June 30th. I put him in a breakout room with Daniel. We didn't yet know the June 30th date to get all the information. And then you didn't show up on June 30th. Then we rescheduled the probation violation hearing for August 18th, and you didn't show up for that. So I held 48 hours and issued a warrant. During that time, as far as I can tell, from that June 18th date to any other, you never had any further contact with Daniel, and you never had any contact with your lawyer. You got arrested. I mean, since that August 18th date, you got arrested by happenstance, unlawfully driving a vehicle in violation of your suspended license. You have about 4 previous driving suspended charges. And then I did the hearing without Daniel, and we set the matter for today. So we've gotten zerowhere during this probation. You haven't done any treatment. You paid very little. As far as I know, you haven't had a job since May. Ox Paperboard isn't the only place in the world to work. And the only reason you're here now is because you got picked up driving suspended and I canceled your bond. You're not a good candidate for probation. You don't like Daniel. You probably didn't like your sergeant either when you're in the military. It makes you do what you don't want to do. Not everybody does a poor job on probation as this. It ain't Daniel, it's Matthew. People have bent over backwards to try to help you. Stoney's sick up and fed with it. And he's like, I've gone as far as I'm going to go with this guy. We've done things on his behalf, and it's always not his fault when the wheels fall off. Mr. Marvin was recommending that the probation just be revoked. And I think that's probably where we should go. Now, who lives at 1218 4th Street?
Myself, sir. That's
All right. Well, you said you were homeless. That was always the dread. Is there a standalone house there?
no. My girlfriend lives there, sir. That's her residence.
All right. What's her name?
Tiara Jackson. Tiera.
There's also a couple of DVs are her. But that's all water under the bridge. All that's going on now is this methamphetamine charge. And since we never got any testing, I don't know what you were doing, whether you were using or whether you weren't. I told you to turn yourself in on January 5th, and you gave me a finger and didn't. Because I wanted to do a test. I wanted to find out what was in your system, why you were being so unorganized. They no longer suspend your license for these drug charges. But I don't have any confidence that you're going to do what I ordered you to do if I put you back on this probation. This has gone about 50 feet backwards since we started in May rather than making any progress forward. You've been in jail for 5 days. I'm over 50 days jail credit fine, waiving all your fines and costs, and I'm revoking your probation. This isn't somebody else's fault. It's not Tim George's fault. It's not Dan Friesine's fault. Friesine's not my fault. It's yours. And the sooner you get that assimilated into your thinking, maybe the better off you'll be. I don't know whether you use it or not, because I can never hold on to you long enough to get a test. But if you were, you're going to have some clean time to get your head on straight. Also, you've got this new driving suspended charge pending. And that makes things more difficult when you can't drive anywhere, but your license has been suspended for some time. At one point, you did live in Constantine. Anyway, I'm not investing any more of my emotional capital on this case. I've had my feelings dashed several times. 50 days, credit 5. Probation is revoked, 0 fines and costs. All right, you're good to go, Mr. Earl. Could I see the officer?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hi. As long as we've got the room open, could we see Felicia Slater?
Yep, we'll get her up here. Is there anybody else after?
I'm not sure. Let's see here. No, I don't think so. Unless Kerry Cannon's in there. I don't think he is.
No, he's not. We'll get her up here though.
All right, thanks.
Yep.
Hello again, everyone, and hello, Miss Slater. You've got a lot going on here today. There's the bond violation on that other stuff, and there's multiple cases set for last pretrial today. I'm going to put you in the waiting room until your attorney comes in. Miss Hines should be here any minute. That room's got a feedback loop in it. We also need Casey Johnson. I keep making charts about Felicia Slater, and then I lose them when the file gets turned into something else. Maybe they're over here. Well, I need some help. I need Casey Johnson and I need Lori Hines so we can proceed further. Mr. George said he had a case. I think that was it. Well, let me invite Casey Johnson and Lori Hines to do the pretrial. Here's Ms. Hines. Okay. Good afternoon, Lori.
Hi, Judge. How are you?
Good. Casey's joining us. I think Debbie's occupied.
Yeah, we were just in Judge Patterson's courtroom. I entered a plea in another case, so now I'm hopping over to your courtroom to see if I can deal with the current case.
Yeah, there's not enough to go around. David was helping us with an earlier case. Ms. Slater is in the conference room. Casey, you kind of come late to this. She has all kinds of stuff pending. Debbie, Lori, and I have been discussing things. We keep charting it out. Let me bring her in and call everything that's up here today.
Your Honor, I also have Ryan Funk of Cass County. Did he log in? Because one case was a special.
Yeah, that is a problem. And we'll go through all this. Miss Slater is here. There's a lot going on. She has 3 domestic violences, several driving cases, and I think a retail fraud and a couple of felonies. The ones that are set for last pretrial today is file 201089SM. That is a domestic violence charge that allegedly occurred on May 25th of 2020. She's represented by Attorney Hines. She has an assault and battery case in file 202207. She is represented by Attorney Lori Hines, and that allegedly occurred on September 5th of 2020. She has another domestic violence charge. That's the one with the special prosecutor. That's not actually noticed until 2:30. Domestic violence second offense, driving suspended second offense, allegedly having occurred in April of 2020, and we have a special prosecutor in that case. So there's 3 assault cases. Then there's file 211117SM, which is no insurance, 18, which is driving suspended second, and improper plates. She also has 2 felonies bound over to the circuit court. One was bound over last October, and she has a firearm and felony firearm charge bound over to the court yesterday. And I think there's another driving case out there someplace. Anyway, Debbie and Lori and I kept having pre-trials and trying to keep all these different cases straight, Ms. Slater. Then we had some problems getting you where you were supposed to be. In addition, you got arrested a few days ago for violation of a bond condition because you were found in the backseat of a car with someone that had been charged with assaulting you, Patrick Jones, and you were charged with assaulting him. Both got taken to jail for violation of your no contact provision. So we'll set that aside for a minute. Our hope was that some sort of global resolution, seems to be the correct term, where we could resolve everything at once would be something to hope for. Judge Patterson was a little disappointed the other day. She wanted to have a prelim, and she got bound over to circuit court on a felony firearm charge. It requires a mandatory minimum 2-year prison sentence, as well as some other charges. So we keep trying to package things, and Felicia keeps getting charged with more stuff. Casey, as I said, you're kind of late to this. Debbie and Lori and I have been working on this to try to get a hold of Felicia before she goes over the waterfall, but we haven't been very successful. Have you guys discussed some global resolution?
So, as the court's aware, yeah, there were some global discussions had. I had a chance to talk to Ms. Hines about half an hour ago, and was hoping to be able to powwow with the powers that be in my office real briefly about this, but I haven't had a chance to leave my chair. So
you were stuck in the other court covering for this.
So I'm not exactly sure how our office wishes to move forward with Ms. Slater right at this second. But I could find that out. Obviously.
Why don't you take a minute and see if they've got, I know Mr. Gabriel's got some input, this case from the other day that got bound over.
Right.
Then there's the old felony case that's bound over, and there may be another traffic case somewhere, maybe pending jury or something. But there's a lot going on.
All right. Well, let me step away, and I'll be right back.
All right.
Thank you.
Lori, do you want to talk to Felicia in the meantime?
Yeah.
Let me put you guys in a break.
And I also need to talk to Ryan Funk. He did call and leave his cell number, but I had some really hard status conferences. I was tied up all morning with that, and I've done hearings since 1. So no free time here.
Well, that seems to be the theme of the day. Unless you're at the animal auction at the fair.
Yeah, I'm not there.
All right. Let me put you in the breakout room, and we expect he'll be with us shortly.
Thank you.
All right. I'm again in hurry up and wait mode. Yes, this case is complicated. There are felonies, there are misdemeanors, there are traffic cases, there's assaultive cases. I think there's a retail fraud case. We've got 2 separate prosecutors. There's just a lot to try to unpack.
What the offer was last time, Funk. I'm going to try to call him now and see if that's acceptable, and then I can get rid of the special prosecutor case, okay?
All right, very good.
All right, I'm gonna meet.
Oh, boy.
Your Honor, I just talked to Ryan Funk from Cass County. He was okay with that, and he told me that he would log in now so we can deal with Felicia while we're waiting.
Okay. Casey's back. Here's Ryan coming in. Good afternoon, Mr. Funk.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Welcome back to virtual Centerville. Thank you for appearing. The Cass County prosecutor has been appointed as prosecutor in file 20694 SM, which charges domestic violence second offense and driving suspended second offense, alleged to have occurred on April 6th of 2020. Lori Hines represents the defendant in that case. Mr. Ryan Funk is here on behalf of the Special Prosecutor's Office. Ms. Hines, what's the status here?
The original offer made was DV first, driving while license suspended first. I've talked to Felicia about that. She's willing to enter a plea. I have advised Mr. Funk that he's willing to enter a plea, and then we can. This is the only special prosecutor case that he has with Felicia, and then that would resolve her issue and release him from him having to appear in this court for this case.
Well, let's talk about this one, Felicia. 20694. Ms. Slater, in that case, it's alleged that on or about April 6th of 2020, that you assaulted Patrick Bernard Jones, an individual you had a dating relationship with. I am aware he's also been charged with assaulting you. Charged as a second or subsequent offense, which is up to punishable up to a year in jail and a fine of $1,000. You're also charged on that same day down in Phil Township with driving suspended as a second offense. That's punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000 also. Prosecutor has agreed to dismiss both of those charges for a plea to domestic violence first offense and driving suspended first offense. Those are both punishable by up to 93 days in jail and a fine of up to $500. The driving suspended charge would also require 2 points on your driving record and require that your license be suspended. Do you understand the charges?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Funk, do you confirm that that's the plea agreement?
I can confirm that, Your Honor.
All right, Felicia, to resolve this April of 2020 case, are you going to plead to domestic violence first and DWLS first?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me go through your advice of rights, and that will apply to anything else we're going to do today. Do you understand that by pleading to this charge, you're given the right to have a trial on that charge?
Yes, sir.
There will be no trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
If there was a trial, you'd have a right to be represented by an attorney. Ms. Hines has been here to represent you. She would continue to be here, or you can hire her choosing if you wish. If you had a trial, you'd have a right to have any of the witnesses for or against you subpoenaed to come to court so they could be questioned under oath. You would have the right to take the witness stand yourself and testify, but you don't have to because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. And you have the right to be presumed innocent if till the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you and Patrick have a history of discord. On this particular day, were you down in Montville Township? The day would be April 6th of 2020.
Montville, we were in Dervers.
It says Montville Township. Let me take a look at this. It might not be correct. Sometimes the prosecutor gets some things wrong. Sometimes the judge does. So let's see. Yeah, the complaint says that Trooper Martha Bile said down in Montville Township on April 6th. Let me see if I can find something else in here. Will give me a little more information. They were dispatched to multiple locations in St. Joseph County. And Patrick Jones called and said he was assaulted by you while they were driving from Indiana to Three Rivers. He was bleeding from his forehead, nose, upper lip, and lower lip. While you were driving in the car, did you hit Patrick in the face?
Yeah.
Now, he may have also hit you, and was your license suspended at that time?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember where you were going?
We were going to Dervers
From where?
from Elkhart.
All right. Are you satisfied with that factual basis, Mr. Funk?
I am, Your Honor.
Lori, are you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, to further complicate things, Felicia was extradited to LaGrange earlier this summer on a possession of meth and possession of marijuana. And as I mentioned, when they got arrested the other night, she was in the car with me. She got charged with violating her no contact provision. He got charged with violating his no contact provision against her. They wish to extradite Mr. Jones to LaGrange County on some, I think, drug charges. So he signed a waiver of extradition. He's present in our jail. I'd like to have his input regarding sentence, but we may have to do that remotely. I have to set this for sentence. Mr. Funk, I don't know the date yet. It depends on what to do with all this other stuff. I may need to get a whole pre-sentence report and try to figure out where to go. But anyway, your two cases are completed, and then we'll give you notice of the date of sentence.
Thank you. Very good, Your Honor.
All right, Felicia, that takes care of that case, which occurred on April 6th. We have a bunch of other cases left. Lori and Casey have been working on that. We also have two more driving suspended charges. She got a driving suspended on August 6th under ordinance. So those are not your cases, Casey. 16700, she got a DWLS in Sturgis, I believe. 21176, she got another DWLS on August 16th. So those are, I'm not sure who. Bleeding from his forehead, nose, upper lip, and lower lip. While you were driving in the car, did you hit Patrick in the face? Lori and Casey have been working on that. We also have two more driving suspended charges. She got a driving suspended on August 6th under ordinance. So those are not your cases, Casey. 16700, she got a DWLS in Sturgis, I believe. 21176, she got another DWLS on August 16th. So those are, I'm not sure who our attorney is on those. Are those yours also, Lori?
No, I have 20-1089, 20-2207, and 21-1117. Those are the files I have for her. Well,
All right.
117, 118, and 119, yeah.
Yes. 1089 is,
And I do have a global offer that Debbie Davis gave me on those files.
all right.
And I
What's
need to
that?
confirm with Casey if he's still willing to allow that global offer. Because if so, I can talk to Felicia and hopefully get those cases resolved.
All right. So what's left is a domestic violence.
20-1089, 20-2207, 21-117, 118, and 119.
You've left off 20-1089.
I know I have that one, 20-1089,
Right.
20-2207.
Yes. And then the traffic cases.
Yes. And Debbie
All right.
gave me a global offer. And if Casey's willing to honor those, I can talk to Felicia about the global offer and hopefully we can do a plea to those
All
today.
right. What is the offer on those?
Debbie wrote an offer on September 10th that in 20-1089, she would plead to disorderly person. They would dismiss the domestic violence. The victim is Tina Barnett.
Your Honor, I think I could save us some time here, because my understanding was that offer, had an expiration date, and so at this point in time, our offer on these cases, on these misdemeanors, is going to be as charged, and they're going to have, and any deal that's going to be made is going to have to be made upstairs.
So there are two bound over felonies, and the felonies need to get resolved before you're going to resolve the misdemeanors?
That's correct.
There's no date on that offer that she had to plead by. And I'm looking at the email that Deborah sent me.
Well, this was before the prelim. I think most offers, or any offer I've ever made out of this office, is contingent on a waiver of the prelim.
And I think
Slater did not
Judge
waive.
Pattison was somewhat taken aback, thought she was going to waive it, and I think she declined to waive, and the matter got bound over, and now she's in much worse shape than she was before. So I think it was revoked on Tuesday. So
Yeah, well,
essentially,
no one
Right.
told me that, and I wasn't involved on Tuesday, which is unfortunate because my email doesn't say she has to waive in order for this plea to go through. So I'm not very happy about that.
well, maybe it's a communication problem with Deborah. I would certainly love to resolve that case with a disturbing the peace and just resolve it now. But Felicia made some decisions on Tuesday, which changed the prosecutor's position. Now, Felicia, who's your lawyer on the felony case from Tuesday?
It's Ms. Halleck.
Yeah.
And just, Lori, so you know, I'm not saying this offer can't be revived, but just at this point in time, I'm not authorized to do so. So that's where we're
Right.
at.
Well, as I read the email, Casey, it's not contingent on a waiver. That's not how the email is written. So that's how I read it. And I have the bulk of those cases with her. So unfortunately, I didn't get the benefit of being involved on Tuesday.
Yeah, now she also has two additional DWLS cases set for October 1st. One possibility, Felicia, I've known you since you were about 17, and I wasn't joking when I said I was trying to get a hold of you before you keep making all these bad decisions. And the way things are structured right now with those two felony cases, it increases the likelihood that you're going to go to prison. You also have a felony pending in LaGrange County, and you don't want to go to prison in Indiana. In the meantime, we've got about 10 misdemeanors that we're trying to resolve that go all the way back to 2020. What distresses me the most is you're continuing to drive in August. August 6th, you get a DWLS. This is an allegation. August 16th, you get a DWLS. That's an allegation. It's like you don't care. And then you got picked up the other night on the bench warrant because you were violating the clear condition that you weren't to have any contact with Patrick. And so it's like, I don't care what happens. Well, the more that happens, the more likely you get long sentence. So I was trying to get a circumstance where we could all sit down and try to resolve all these. Now, in point of fact, you have a right to have a trial on every single one of these charges. You don't have to plead guilty to anything. My sense is, though, at this point, you're willing to plead to some of these things to get them resolved. However, the prosecutor just changed the rules and they don't have any plea offer. This isn't from Mr. Johnson, it's from his bosses. The prosecutor and the chief assistant said, wait a minute, she wouldn't take our deal on Tuesday, so revoking our offer. I think maybe we can get things reset up. There's the issue of whether you were violating your bond. You've been in jail now for 5 days. Patrick wasn't supposed to have contact with you. You weren't supposed to have contact with Patrick. If you admit to violating bond, I'm simply going to give you 5 days in jail credit, 5 days for contempt, and call it good and get that thing off the table.
She did admit to that, Your Honor. She's set for sentencing today on that.
Oh, I said for sentencing? Then, yeah, you're right, she did. All right, I'm going to do 5 days, credit 5 days in those bond violation files. On this new domestic violence DWS case, the law requires that I set up for sentencing at least 10 days away. Where's my Ryan Funk case? Today is September 23rd. Set for sentence October 1st, 4th.
When?
October, is that when you're gone to something? October 4th? Did you tell me that didn't work before?
Oh, they just sent a status conference at 9:30. I have a motion hearing regarding placement in a secured facility at 11, and I've got a divorce mediation starting at noon on that day.
Well, you're gonna be busy that day. Let's take.
You have another day for me?
Yeah, let's take a look at Wednesday of that week. Let me look.
I have a PV hearing at 10 on that day.
Well, I've got a jury trial that day, I think, with Mr. Reed.
Yeah, okay.
I've got about 5 cases set. Good boy. Are you available at 9:30 on Thursday, October 7th?
Yeah, I have NA at 9, so I'll be available at 9:30.
All right, bond in that matter is set for that date. Bond is canceled. Alicia, I want to hold on to you before you get in any more trouble. This will give everybody time to try to package the 2 felonies, the 3 domestic assaults, the 4 or 5 driving suspended charges, and some assorted other stuff, plus your Indiana case. You bonded out in Indiana and you were back to here. They set that matter for trial. Is that what they did in Indiana?
I'm supposed to be getting a hold of them to do something to where I could get home
Detention?
Yes. Can't do that sitting in here.
No. We'll see if we can figure out what's going on down there. You understand? No, I won't preach at you anymore. Enough. I don't like the thought of going to prison for about 5 years. It doesn't do much for me. But this domestic violence, we'll see what we can do Thursday, October 7th at 9:30. The other cases, she has these other attorney pretrials on October 1st. I propose we bump all of these to October 1st, and that will give Casey, Debbie, Mr. Marvin, Mr. Gabry, Ms. Halleck some time to try to work on a true global. Will that work for you?
When are we moving the first? Yeah, because I have a termination trial that they set on the 1st. So I would have had to move those anyways.
Well, that's where I was gonna move this to the 1st.
Well, the first they've set that the day that the court did not have power, I was supposed to have a termination trial. And then they moved it to the 1st of October.
I really wish they wouldn't put that on a Friday, as you know,
You
circuit
and me
courts.
both, Your Honor, so especially a Super Friday.
Well,
And I'm the GL in that case.
everything affects everything else. Yet Judge Stutzman has a very busy morning that morning also. We try to get our stuff done by 10:30 or 11, and then he picks up at 11 and goes into circuit court. They don't generally do those terminations on a Super Friday, but
No doubt. I freaked out when I saw it, but that's when they reset it, because that was on the August 13th was the original date, was when the date that the court did not have power because of that storm. So they moved it to the Friday.
that was not a Super Friday. That was just a Friday.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't.
So Felicia needs to be removed. I can't handle it on 9:45 on that 1st.
All right, well, I won't put her on there. You've got too much on your plate. You're very busy and you practice at 3 different courts at least.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna continue these to October 14th. That's longer than I want to, at 2 o'clock.
That works. Thank you.
2:15 and 2:30.
So we're moving the first stuff to 14th.
Yes.
To October 14th at 2 or 2:30.
2, 2:15 and 2:30. I blocked out a half an hour for each, 15 for each case.
All right.
So we're gonna be jail until then?
Well, I'm gonna sentence you next. Well, I've got to set a date for sentencing. That's on October 6th. Excuse me, October 7th. You're gonna be in jail until at least October 7th, Alicia.
Until when?
At least until October 7th. I'm trying to keep you from not going to jail from now till October 7th of about 2024. You've got a felony firearm charge hanging over your head, which carries a mandatory minimum 2-year prison sentence. You've got those other weapons charges. You've got an earlier charge that's bound over to circuit court on a fleeing and looting and an R&O, and you have a felony methamphetamine charge pending in Indiana. So, all right. Yeah, you need to understand how serious all this is. You're driving your car on August 6th, I don't care. You're driving your car on August 16th, I don't care. You get picked up 5 days ago for a clear violation of a no contact condition of your bond, I don't care. There's a reason why you're sitting in jail. And it's a series of bad decisions that you have made. And so, yeah, that's where you are. You're going to be there until at least October 7th, possibly longer. But we'll see what happens on that date. All right. I've got some extensive notes to do for October 14th.
Sorry, Your Honor. Blame this on Casey. He would have entered a plea to the global offer.
Well, it was an offer, but it wasn't global.
So I'll show you the email. Darn it.
Well, things changed on Tuesday, but nobody told you.
Yeah, that's the problem. And I had the bulk of the cases, so that's unfortunate.
Well, now she's got, there's 3 more, and I'm not sure what LaGrange is going to do. We may have to reach out to the LaGrange County Prosecutor's Office and find out what they have in mind for. Casey, I have a request for waiver of extradition on Patrick Jones.
All right, I'm going to leave. I'll be back at 3:15, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Do you have a position on that?
I guess not. I guess I don't know. It's not my.
I just sprung it on you. He's charged with a felonious assault on her. And I think she went to the hospital or something. That case that he pled to, he had a bloody face and nose and he called the police and she claimed he hit her. I don't know. So I'll hold off for at least a day before I sign that waiver of extradition. Because once he goes down there, we may lose track of him.
Right, and that would be the concern, for sure. So,
but he may be entitled. I don't know what his bond situation is. He may be entitled to waive extradition. I'll have to take a look at it because he had a bond violation also, and I gave him X amount of days, which expired today. So I have to look at it. He may be entitled to waive because there's nothing else keeping him here. I better take a look at his cases. All right, Mr. Bush has joined us. We've been having a very interesting day. Kerry Cannon is set for today at 2:45. He's not logged into the feed. What can you tell us, John?
Well, we still have competency issues, and I'm told he may be in the Branch County Jail.
Oh, did we?
Last I knew, we were going to try and schedule the competency interview at my office with him doing it by Zoom.
Yes, did that happen?
No, and I'm told he may be in the Branch County Jail now.
Let me see what I can find out about that.
John, have you had any contact with Mr. Colbert?
No, I've got the obligatory letter to him telling him to hook up today. I talked to him briefly by telephone back in December of 2020, for probably like 5 minutes. That's my whole total contact with him.
Mr. Cannon?
No, Mr. Colbert. I have felony cases with Mr. Cannon.
Well, you've had a lot of contact with Mr. Cannon, and he got to the forensic center and got to the door, and they wouldn't let him in because of COVID, and then he missed one, and then you facilitated at your office.
I don't know why. There's a sticky note that says he may be in the Branch County Jail.
Well, Laura's checking right now.
He has, to the best of his ability, always been fairly communicative, able to communicate.
He has. I frankly think he's going to come out as competent. He's been cooperative enough, but especially the one in June or so when he drove up there.
He gets overwhelmed keeping track of dates and times.
Yes, he does. So do I.
We couldn't live without the big calendar on our refrigerator.
It's not as complicated as when your son was at home.
That's true. It is much simpler.
Trying to keep track of all the things our kids had. All right, well, she'll tell us in a minute. Anyway, it's not here. The competency evaluation is in another case. Do you have that case number handy, John?
No, but I can probably get it really quick here on it. If you can hold on.
I can probably get it also here by just.
Your Honor, while we're doing this fact finding, would it be all right if I stepped away for just a quick moment?
Yeah, sure. See you in a minute. Fact finding, that's what we're doing, all right.
Your Honor, the competency order is in file 20-2323FY.
Yes, he is in custody. He also has a hold in LaGrange County and as well as our county.
Could you ask
me some?
Could you ask what he's in jail there for, just out of curiosity?
Do you know what the charge is?
No, I didn't know. You want me to? I can call him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem.
Sorry.
Yeah, we always want to know that. I've got a bunch of pins in here with no ink in them. I'm going crazy. Bennett is in Branch County Jail with a hold for us and a hold for LaGrange County. Casey, we've learned that Mr. Cannon is in custody in the Branch County Jail. Laura's finding out what the charge is.
I believe Mr. Tolbert is at the courthouse.
I think so. I've got him in the conference room here. Defendant fails to appear in Branch County Jail. With hold for us and LaGrange County. We do a bench warrant and bond $500 cash or surety. It'd be helpful to know what he's in jail for. We'll know that in a moment. Let me bring Mr. Tolbert in. Good afternoon, Mr. Tolbert.
How you doing? Good afternoon.
Let me put you in the waiting room. We'll be with you in just a minute. We're wrapping up another case.
Meth.
All right. Do we know what LaGrange is or just
Same
that?
thing.
All right. Meth charge in Branch County and LaGrange County.
Not good.
Yes, his company issues. All right, I'm going to do another bench warrant to put a second hold on him and make sure maybe we get him before Indiana does. The poor guy, we can't get anywhere without the competency evaluation. Now he's got multiple other felonies. I don't know whether they're doing a competency evaluation. I believe his competency has to do with his methamphetamine use. All right, well, we aren't going to do anything with him today, so I'll set him aside. All right, Mr. Wayne Tolbert is in our waiting room. All right, good afternoon, Mr. Tolbert. We are live on YouTube. We are recording this. We're on the Zoom platform. This is file 20678SM, People versus Wayne D. Tolbert. You're charged with domestic assault that allegedly occurred in March of 2020. You were off the grid for quite some time. I saw your brother and said, tell Wayne to come over here. Eventually, I think you did turn yourself in or you got picked up and we got the matter back on track. I gave you 6 days jail, credit 6 days for contempt for failing to appear, set the matter for trial, for last pretrial today. Mr. Bush had indicated he hasn't really had much of a chance to talk to you. Did you contact your lawyer after I appointed him and set this hearing?
No, I did not, sir.
Well, at least you're here. Casey, is there a plea offer?
I do not have a plea offer here, Your Honor. The offer is as charged.
With a deferral or just?
I don't believe that Mr. Tolbert would be eligible for deferral.
John, would you like an opportunity to talk to your client?
Yes, I would. Nothing more than to verify contact information, please.
All right. Wayne, I'm going to put you in a room. You're going to have to click the join button there with a mouse. There'll be a separate space where you can talk to Mr. Bush.
Okay.
Just me and you again, Casey. I'm going to try to do the bond violations. Why are these set?
Can you hear me, Casey?
Yeah, Johnny.
He is going to enter.
Yeah.
He's actually going to enter a plea today.
All right, let me
We'd
bring
like
you
to,
that.
we'd like to hold off sentencing till the victim could be heard.
Yes, that's appropriate.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm told that the court had removed the no contact order. That's very possible. I wasn't aware of that.
I did. He'd been living there for ever since.
Well, and I believe that's still the case.
Good afternoon, Mr. Eccleston. We're in the middle of the case that precedes yours, and we'll be with you in a minute.
Sounds good. Thank you, Your Honor.
This is People versus Wayne Talbert, 20678. Mr. Talbert is here at the courthouse. He's represented by Attorney John Bush. People are represented by Assistant Prosecutor Attorney Casey Johnson. Mr. Talbert, according to Mr. Johnson, is not eligible for a domestic violence deferral. Mr. Bush indicates the defendant will enter a plea to this charge and requests that we set this matter out for at least 10 days to give the complaining witness, Leslie Leak Talbert, the defendant's wife, an opportunity to provide input. And I certainly welcome that. Wayne, do you understand that if you plead to this charge, you'll be giving up your right to have a trial in front of a judge or jury? There will be no trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. Mr. Bush is here to represent you. You also have the right to have an attorney of your own choosing if you wish. If you had a trial, you'd have a right to take the witness stand and testify. But you don't have to because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. You'd have a right also for any of the witnesses for or against you to be subpoenaed, and you have the right to be presumed innocent if and until the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Understand all that?
Yes.
Now, this happened allegedly way back in March of 2020. Case got off the rails because we lost track of you in July of 2020 and didn't catch up with you until just recently. Were you and Leslie married at that time?
Yes.
And on this day, did you and she get into an argument?
Yes.
Was that at your house in Three Rivers?
Yes, it was.
Pine Street?
Elm Street.
Elm Street. All right. What happened?
Basically, both of us didn't see eye to eye on whatever issue it was at the time. Seeing it being that long ago, it just completely is kind of like a blur. I was drinking at the time too, and that's what kind of agitated the whole scenario. At the time I tried to leave, she kept wanting to verbally point fingers in my face or whatnot. So there was a little bit of pushing and shoving going on involved, and next thing you know,
Well,
there, that's when she.
All right, you had actually been in an accident before that, is that correct?
Yes.
Crashed your truck, came home, you'd been drinking, you and Leslie got in an argument, and it says that she got pushed to the ground and your daughter got in the middle. Is that acceptable?
Yes.
All right, and then you went AWOL, so we would have resolved this a year ago. I would really very much like to hear from Leslie about this. Your mother raised you right. Hardly anybody shows up for court with a necktie on. I've known you since you were about 9th grade. You're always polite, respectful. You're here standing tall, ready for this after we had to dig around for more than a year to get you back in here. So we might as well get this thing resolved and we'll work on that. Where are you working?
Morgan Olson in Sturgis, Michigan.
All right, you were at Utilimaster. How long you been at Morgan Olson?
5 months.
Are you working overtime?
No, not really.
All right, well, you already did 6 days for that other stuff. Let's find a date that works for your lawyer and for the prosecutor. I have to set it out at least 10 days.
I'm going to go get the book, Your Honor.
All right.
I have Jackie here with the book, Your Honor.
All right, how does Monday, October 11th at 10:30 work?
Monday, October 11th at 10:30. 10, 11, 21, 10:30 is fine, Judge.
All right, just a minute. Here we go. When we were live, once upon a time, I would give